I wish
Hold
her a
on.
complete refuah.
Amen, 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 amen. It's
And
incredible. This computer works perfectly in my office, and when I'm here, it doesn't work at all.
it's
You
the
guys hear me
Wi-Fi.
fine? No,
It's the
it's not the
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. It's not the
Oh,
Wi-Fi. It's the
it's
computer.
actually.
It's the computer. It's the computer. It's the computer acting up. Hold on. Let's bring up the
So maybe we
text.
each send in a $5,
No.
$5 to $10, and you can buy a new one.
For $5 to $10, that'd be a
Yeah,
discount.
I don't know. You should have that many students. Yeah, we could.
Hold on. Hold on. Let's see. Give me a second here.
I went to a nice party for the new month.
Oh, nice. Baruch Hashem.
This
Okay, we
lady
learned.
does it every month.
Oh, beautiful. Hold on. Let me just get the page in the right size. Come on. Hold on 1 second, guys. Do you see this page here?
It says Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, chapter
Yeah.
9.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I just need to. The page is too large.
Yeah, it's pretty big, but it's good. I can read it nicely.
Okay. We're learning a new set of laws now. We're learning chapter 91, which deals with the laws of things that are not exactly melachos, things that are not exactly uh, things that you're doing, but are also forbidden anyways to do it on Shabbos. So he says like this: Yesh devarim, there are things shein asurim b'Shabbos, they're forbidden to do on Shabbos. Afal pi she'ein doimen lemelacha, although they are not similar to melacha. Melacha means like the thing of really of work. So why would it be forbidden? It says you're not allowed to do the 39 melachos that we're going to learn about in the coming weeks, where it talks about what we build a Mishkan. We know that whatever was done in the Mishkan is forbidden to do on Shabbos. So if these things are not considered a melacha, a thing of work, why would it be forbidden on Shabbos? So he says, Mishum Shenemar, because there's a verse that's in the prophets that says like this. Um, where's the prophet? Where's the in Isaiah? It says like this: im tashuv mishabes raglecha, if you will refrain from walking on Shabbos, asois chafotzecha b'yom kachi, or from doing your needs on my holy day. The pasuk continues, v'chibadetoi mi'ases derachecha. It says, and you will honor it, meaning the day of Shabbos, by not doing your needs, which means your ways, or pursuing your needs, or from speaking anything. Okay, this is a verse in Isaiah referring to Shabbos. Meaning to say, what we learn from this is Darsha Rabbi Seinu. From this verse, our rabbis understand. Don't walk on Shabbos like you walk during the week. Even though walking is nothing wrong. What would this mean? One can't just run on Shabbos, which is one of the reasons you shouldn't go jogging on Shabbos. Dvar mitzvah, but if you're doing it for a mitzvah, you have to run to a bris, to shul, then mutalaretz, then you can. Why? Because it says dirachecha, you're walking. Mashma dirachecha asurim, only you're walking is forbidden. Avadarki shemaim, but if you're walking towards things of heaven, meaning a mitzvah, mutam, then be permissible. And he adds to that, mitzvah loretz, and then be even a commandment. You'd be fulfilling God's will by running to the shul, so to say, or to the mitzvah, whenever that mitzvah is. Okay, well, it's going to be a short class, so I'll let you know beforehand. If anyone wants to cut in, I would suggest to cut in as is. Okay, so we have the first verse is Isaiah, and he says, and you should refrain from walking on Shabbos. In other words, if because of Shabbos you were prevented from walking more than the allowed distance, okay, so you shouldn't walk more than you should. First of all, we know that there's the actual distance you're not allowed to walk on Shabbos out of the Erev or out of the public. So it's called Erev Tchumim. Besides for that, I'm not sure why he pushes that in. But even the permissible walking, we shouldn't walk in the same way, which is he means is running. 3, he says, or from pursuing your needs. He says it is clear that the verse is referring to actions that are not specifically melachos. Means your needs, but not your things of doing. So we're talking about things that are not melachos. You're not doing things of work, but still it's something that you would do during the week. We're going to learn this is just a general law. Each continuing law is going to teach us different various specifics, what you shouldn't be doing on Shabbos. He says over here, okay, we'll learn further what's it mean about speaking. And he says, footnote number 5 is just a reference. And I think that's it for the footnotes in this law. I think we're missing 6 somewhere.
So my daughter does this, my son does this. They take walks with friends, especially my daughter in Israel. They're not carrying anything. They're just walking to see whatever they see and to hang out with friends. So you shouldn't do that?
No, we're talking about not talking about walking like that. We're talking about like running. He says we learn from this running. And that's why he says over here in footnote number 6, he says, running for pleasure as youngsters do, like running around, is permitted. So says the Shulchan Aruch. It's permitted to jump over a puddle. You can't say, well, I have to jump over a puddle. I should walk through the puddle, because if I'm jumping on Shabbos. No, you don't have to walk in the puddle. You could jump over a puddle, or to run to get out of the rain, right? You can't say, well, I'm not running Shabbos, I'm just going to walk in the rain. No, you could do all these things you could do. We're talking about, I think, what would be considered today would be like jogging or running for exercise.
My question is, my son always runs up the stairs. He likes to show off that he can get up there faster than anyone. That shouldn't be done?
Maybe. I mean, I'm not. It depends if you want to call that child's play. Like he says,
No,
running
well,
for
he's
children.
22. He's not a child anymore.
I know, but it's still could be child's play. I'm saying if he's doing it like kids running around or something else. Okay.
Okay.
So he continues. From pursuing your needs, our rabbis learn. The things that are your things, even if it's not a malacha, you shouldn't do in Shabbos. What's an example? He gives an example. Going, nothing. I'm not doing anything. You're walking through your things and checking them to make notes, right? Ayin b'nechasa means you're going through your things. You didn't do anything wrong. I'm just looking through everything. I didn't touch anything that's not allowed to be touched. But you're making mental notes for things that are for later. That's not allowed on Shabbos. For instance, if you walk through your house, you're going through your cupboards. For instance, going through your cupboards on Shabbos with the intention of making a mental grocery list is not forbidden. It's not allowed on Shabbos, even though you're not writing anything. But by checking out, okay, what am I missing in the fridge? What am I missing in the cupboard? Or anything else of that sort, where you're kind of making mental notes for tomorrow. It's not Shabbos. It's not something we do. Gamza also is forbidden. Or to say, you know what, I'm going to take a walk through Manhattan and see what sales are for. So tomorrow I could go, to Macy's or this, So same thing. You can't go on a walk in the city to see what horses are for sale, where the boats are, Karain, where there's a wagon, where can I pick up a midtown park wagon? All these things that you're making kind of things that you're using your Shabbos for the week is Achar Shabbos. If it's obvious, that's why you're doing it. Then it's not allowed.
Can you organize your Jewish books, and can you look to see which ones you're missing for the holidays that are coming up?
Again, anything that's, we'll see. We're going to go back and forth a little bit. Things that are Jewish, things that are Torah related, not Torah related. But let's put this question about organizing your Jewish books on the side. We'll get to something similar to that, and we can discuss that further. But literally, like if you're in Manhattan for Shabbos, right, or any city, and you go through the city to make mental notes of what you could do for Sunday or Saturday night, it's not allowed. So, but to watch your things from being damaged or someone else's things, that's allowed. So even though you're just standing there and watching it, and it's not really the most Shabbos spirit, but that's allowed. We'll see why in a second. So footnote number 7. Where the purpose of this walk is not obvious to a pass-byer, the Mishnah Brura permits to make a mental note. Chai Adam, however, prohibits it even in this case. Now, the question is that's a little bit of the language that the Kitzur uses that's a little questionable. The Kitzur says that it seems like you're walking for this reason. I mean, seemingly the question should be: am I allowed to do it or not? What's the difference? What it seems? Why is it? So it seems like this falls under the category of maris ayin. Maris ayin means when people see things, they may misinterpret it for something worse. Maybe you're going shopping now. So it doesn't say what people may think. He doesn't say that in the Kitzur. And the Mishnah Berurah says, therefore, if you're taking a walk and it's not obvious that you're making mental notes, the Mishnah Berurah says it's allowed. Like if you're walking down Manhattan, and you just it could be I'm just walking Manhattan, but I'm also checking, what's open on Saturday and what's open on Sunday, where there's deals. The Mishnah Berurah doesn't say it's wrong, but the Chai Adam says it's not allowed because seemingly the Chai Adam would say there's nothing to do with what people see. It's not something you should be doing on Shabbos. So, okay, let's see. We'll get to your question maybe in book soon. This is something we talked about many, many months ago about doing things, walking places to be somewhere closer to someplace else for Motzei Shabbos. I think the example you guys were giving was people that were walking the bridge to be somewhere in Manhattan. So when Shabbos goes out, you could go right into the show, game, whatever it is, movie, whatever restaurant, whatever you're going to. So you're using Shabbos time to get closer to be able to be there for Motzei Shabbos. Is that allowed? So this deals with this question. There's Asur lahachshich ala tchum. You can't darken near the tchum, which means leilach v'Shabbos atzoif atchum ay pachas ulis akiv sham atchitachcha. A lot of energies that are at force against doing classes here in the hospital, like the noise of the workers specifically when I'm here. Okay, either way. So he says that you're not allowed to walk at a distance in the dark to be closer to the end of where you could be on Shabbos, so then you could carry on walking after Shabbos, which would be similar to going somewhere in Manhattan that you could go to a game. Or a little bit less, and wait there, until Motzei Shabbos, so you can go faster, to go forward wherever you need to go. So basically using Shabbos time to get as far as you can walk Shabbos and then be able to be closer to where you have to be. Because you're moving forward on Motzei Shabbos. Nikar hadavar, again, it's what it seems. The reason for his walking was just to walk so you could be closer to the event or the place you want to go to. And only if you stay there till it gets dark, but to walk somewhere and go back, obviously it's not a problem.
Can you start Shabbat in one area and then walk to your friend's house and sleep over because you'll be closer to that area?
It depends how you look at it, because he uses the word mishum shenikar, because it looks like it. It seems like this is the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch is of the opinion of the Mishnah Berurah that all these things are about how it's perceived versus if it's essentially wrong, and that's where it gets sticky, because like your question, if I'm going with a friend, it could seem like I'm just going to visit a friend, and it happens to be my friend lives next door to where I want to be Saturday night. So the wording that he says mishum mikra davar, it seems like the main reason is the shiur for that reason. It says v'dafke kishemach sham. Only if you're there till it gets dark. Today leilach lasis davar she'efsher b'shum oifen lasis Shabbos. And it's only forbidden if you're walking to do something you're not allowed to do on Shabbos. For instance, miskar poilim, you're not allowed to rent workers. So you're going as far as you can go so you can hire workers. Or litleish peiros, or to pick fruit, you're not allowed to pick fruit on Shabbos. Or lahavi peiros amuktzayim, or peiros, fruit that are forbidden to touch on Shabbos because they've been set aside. She'ein shum heter lasis dvar me'elu b'Shabbos. You're not allowed to do these on Shabbos. So you're being distant to do something forbidden on Shabbos. Kivan shim hayu batim ad sham kroivim zelazeh shivim ama hayu mutar lavim gam Shabbos. He goes, but this is where it gets tricky. If the only reason I'm going somewhere is not because what I'm doing on Shabbos after Shabbos is forbidden, but like in the case of my limits, right? I walked to a limit where I could walk on Shabbos to do something that if it wasn't out of the limit, I would be able to do it on Shabbos. Like let's say I wanted to call my animal back. The animal is outside of the limits. I can't go there to bring him back. But if he was in the limit, then I'd be allowed to. So then you're allowed to do it. So that's why the question is what you plan on doing Saturday night is really the question. Or to take fruit that are not muksa, they've been cut already and they've been not set aside. So those things, then it's mutter. Then I'm allowed to go to the distance to do something that the only reason I can't do it on Shabbos is because of its distance. Even if it was a private domain, it would be permissible. Even on the Shabbos. Is there anything of the like? Are you able to hear me, by the way, with all this noise? Aaron, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you perfectly.
Okay. Also, to go to a gina, like a garden, that you want to wait there, to be able to pick fruit on the Saturday night, because it could be you're just going to the garden for a walk. It doesn't seem that your agenda is to pick the fruit on Saturday night. People are looking, let's say you're going there for just a nice walk, or to find an animal that you lost. And you only decided after you got there to pick the fruit which would be forbidden on Shabbos. Meaning to say, we have to see how he describes this. But basically, what the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch is the opinion of, is that you shouldn't perceive like you're doing something that's forbidden on Shabbos. I don't know if it's Maris Ayin or just that you're giving off the impression that you're not honoring Shabbos because people think you're doing things that are dishonorable to Shabbos. Let's see the footnotes here.
What if it's a mitzvah, but it's still forbidden on Shabbos?
No. A mitzvah is going to be different. That's what I'm saying. Your question about books is different.
No, but I'm saying like you're going to, go to some hospital and play with kids.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So to do something that would be a mitzvah like a bris or a wedding or the like, or to go meet your teacher, or like you said, to do bikkur cholim. So that would be allowed. That we're going to see in the next law. But if we're talking about things that are not a mitzvah related, so he says the tchum is the boundary of the limit of Shabbos. 9 is okay. Doesn't say what 9 is. Is a footnote. Is a reference. What's 10? Consequently, you would not be permitted to go there to bring back animal that cannot walk on its own or its muksa. Okay, so to go to a place that you could carry an animal, that you could just walk with an animal, that would be okay. But if you'd have to carry the animal, then it'd be like picking forbidden fruit. Meaning to say like this, let's just break down the rule of this law. The rule of this law is to do something that's Shabbos, that what you're looking to do on Motzei Shabbos, after Shabbos, would be forbidden for you to do on Shabbos. You're not allowed to prepare for it on Shabbos. So to walk to the limits, so you could do something that you wouldn't be able to do on Shabbos, you're not doing Shabbos. But if the only reason you can't go further and do what you want to do is because of the limit, but the actual thing you want to do is permissible, like picking up fruit that are available, or walking your animal that you don't have to carry, etc. So then it doesn't. Then you're allowed to what's called go to the limits on Shabbos to prepare yourself on Shabbos. He makes one side note that if it's a garden, because you could be going to a garden for other reasons, therefore it's not obvious you're doing something that's forbidden on Shabbos. Again, I don't think what we're talking about over here is what's called Maris Ayin, that people may misjudge. I think it's about giving off an impression that you don't keep Shabbos. You don't care about Shabbos. You're just looking to get over Shabbos. So because it could be that you were doing a Shabbos walk in the garden, so even though you're hanging out there so you could pick the fruit after Shabbos, so you're not giving off an impression as a person who doesn't respect Shabbos. He says, but not to the tchum, because then this applies any similar situation. Similar, you may walk within the tchum, he says, but not to the tchum limit, because then the purpose of the walking is obvious. Again, if it's not obvious and you're looking like you're just taking a walk on Shabbos, then it would be permissible. In footnote number 12, he says, what are we talking about over here? For the same reason, you should not remain standing near the garden, because then, too, your purpose becomes obvious. Like if you're standing somewhere and it looks like for instance, let's say you want to be online for something that opens up after Shabbos. Could you stand online for something? Let's say an Apple shop is opening up at Saturday night after Shabbos. Can I wait online on Shabbos? And by the time I have to go into the Apple shop, it's going to be ready after Shabbos. No,
I
because
would say
obviously
no.
so of course not. That's what he says. To stand near something, you say, what am I doing? I'm just standing online. No, but you're standing online, so obviously you're doing something that's not respectful on Shabbos. Okay. We're going to actually, if there's any questions, let's ask. Otherwise, I think we're going to stop here. Just wanted to get a little learning in this week.
Just let me ask you, so
Sure.
it's in line with everything I've been asking before. We know if it's a secular concert, you won't stand in line, but if you have open seating, so the first people in get to choose the best seats, and it's a Jewish artist, does it make any difference? Like it's Avram Fried.
It's a good question. I don't think so. I don't think you should be doing that on Shabbos. I think it's again. This is the question. The thing is like this, because this is not so problematic, because we said before that if I have to think about that. I would think definitely it's not in the spirit of Shabbos. Is it forbidden as much as it's forbidden to be waiting online to buy something? Because buying is, you're not allowed to buy on Shabbos. That's why I use the example of the Apple shop. You're not allowed to buy something on Shabbos, right? So standing online with a free entry, you don't have to buy a ticket. You're just going to be there first. It's definitely not in the spirit of Shabbos. I'll give you an example. I mean, this is something holy. I'll give you an example. People go to the Rebbe's oil. And if you're going to go, sometimes they open it up for people to go in on Saturday night. Let's say that Saturday night is the yard site. So they have lines. Could you wait in line to go into the oil? Like, so you should be able to be the first one to go Matzah Shabbos and read and write your pan. Like, these are questions, if this is a week fall under being a mitzvah thing. But it seems what the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch is concerned about are things that are not in the spirit of Shabbos. And it's not just that people will make the wrong calculation, but it's the impression you give off. There's a difference to what people think to the impression you give off. And the Torah doesn't want you to give off the impression of a person who doesn't take the Shabbos seriously or honor the Shabbos. And that's why the question is, there's going to be certain things that are forbidden and certain things that are frowned upon. Frowned upon is not forbidden. Here we're talking about things that are forbidden. So if you're going to do something that's going to violate the Shabbos and you're waiting to do it, like to buy an iPhone, that you're not allowed to buy an iPhone on Shabbos. It's not a question of that the tchum or the limits. It's just something now doing Shabbos. So by waiting online to buy an iPhone, that would be awesome. So waiting online to go to a concert that's free entry, that you already have a ticket, what have you. I'm not sure if it's exactly also the same way or if it's just not in the spirit of Shabbos and frowned upon. I have to check into that.
I
know.
know.
Everyone, you go ahead, Rebecca.
Oh yeah. I have a question. It's not about like carrying like that kind of hachana, but like what about like putting aside like articles, or I mean like magazines, like Jewish magazine material that you want to read but you don't have time to read it like at the moment on Shabbos. Like it's Jewish material. It's like, it's about the parsha and hashkafa, whatever. Like, is that okay?
Again, that's something different. Like the examples we've given so far is he starts off saying is don't be ma'ayin, don't prepare things for after Shabbos, like looking at things that have to be done, bought, I have to buy this ox. So these are forbidden things. Reading a magazine on Shabbos is not forbidden. unless we want to go into the conversation if we should be reading magazines on Shabbos at all. But on Shabbos, but if it's something that's permitted on Shabbos, but you just want to read it on Matzah Shabbos, it definitely is not. I wouldn't call it forbidden. Mishrabi falls on the frowned upon.
Okay, thank
I
you.
mean, just to say something like she was brought up, our rabbi
Okay.
has on the heater, he has Jewish newspaper and Jewish magazines, okay, and other Jewish publications. Some are more religious than others, but they all have some Jewish content in it. I pick them up and I take them home and I read them.
That's
No.
not
People.
that's not what
That's
I'm
new.
talking about, like sorting, like putting
So
aside
sometimes
like
what I'll do is that, okay, so I'm at shul and I don't want to carry the whole thing and there's an article I want, so I'm not ripping it. They're all loose papers. So I'll
No,
take one.
that's fine. But Rebecca's talking about kind of organizing yourself for after Shabbos
yeah, I'm saying
specifically.
like I have 10
Yeah,
magazines in front of me and like a few of them have things that I want to read about after Shabbos. So like to
Okay,
make a pile with those things, that's my
yeah.
question.
okay.
All right, last question, Barbara. What's up? You're on
Yes,
mute.
so it would be like in Rebecca's case, if you were going through the magazines and you want to mark the page of the article you wanted to read, would that be allowed?
That's all, again.
Like with a post-it
The
note or something.
Yeah. So again, so the things that we've given an example would be things that you're making mental notes of things you cannot do on Shabbos. To make
Okay.
a post, this should be okay. But you're posting it for after Shabbos. I think we have to finish a bit more of the chapter. I think these will fall under things that are frowned upon.
Well,
And
I'll
you-
just say one thing. She mentioned Post-it notes. My son always yells at me when I use something that's just like a sticker like.
Okay, that's another question. If you use a sticker, if you have it, you could also use a pin. What do we call it? A paper clip.
Paperclip?
That's paper clip.
I remember reading years ago where
Mm-hmm.
the laws of on Shabbat, you can't make any plans. Like you can't like I'm
No.
walking around and I'm thinking, okay, I need to weed my garden. I can't think that. I can't make that plan.
No. So exactly, weeding your garden is exactly what you're not allowed to do. You're not allowed to weed your garden on Shabbos. So to look in your garden and say, "Oh, these have to come out on Shabbos," that's usher. That's not frowned upon. That's forbidden.
But I can't even make that plan, is my understanding.
Exactly. That's what we just
Okay,
went in the beginning of the law.
Okay,
To
yeah,
make a mental
yes.
note of things that you wouldn't be able to do on Shabbos that you can't do. So yeah, to go through your garden would be a perfect example of things that you want to do in your garden and you're not allowed to do on Shabbos that you're not allowed to do.
Okay, yeah.
All right, everyone,
Okay,
have a
thank
wonderful.
Rabbi,
you.
We'll
you
keep you
look very,
posted.
very tired. You look very, very tired. I
It's
hope you
okay.
get some good sleep tonight.
Toda
Okay,
rabba. Thank you.
All the
Laila tov.
best.
thank you,
Same
Rabbi.
here.